Okay, we are dividing polynomials, but today we're talking about remainders. So same thing as yesterday. We're going to start with a box. We're going to put our divisor on the side, the left side. And the only term we're starting with is a term in the first box. Okay, so just like yesterday, we're going to figure out this box next. So x, or not box, but outside. X times what gives me 2x squared? Well, that's going to be 2x. Well, now we have enough information to fill in this box. So 2x times 5 is positive 10x. And the big thing to remember is that we know that this is adding to give me my b term, which is 11x. So 10x plus what gives me 11x? Well, that's going to be positive 1x. X times what gives me 1x? Well, that's going to be positive 1. And then 1 times 5 gives me 5. Is that what we wanted? No. That means there is a remainder. Sorry, I might have to find the calculator. So there is a remainder. And to find our remainder, we got to figure out what added to 5 will give me the number I wanted to be in there. I wanted it to be 1. Well, 5 minus 4, so negative 4 would give me 1. So the remainder equals negative 4. So if the answer is yes today, I want you to tell me what the remainder is. If the answer is no today, then I want you to tell me the quotient. So let's look at another one. Same concept, we're going to set up our box. We're going to put our divisor on the left and our first term in the first box. Okay, big things to remember. We want the diagonal to add to positive 8x. Okay, and then we know 3x times what? Well, x or 1x. X times negative 1 is negative 1x. And how do I get from negative 1 to 8? Well, we kind of struggle with this, so we can use our calculator, and we do outside minus inside. So 8 minus, and my inside is negative 1. I do have to type that double negative when it's inside negative. And if we're not sure if we typed it right, that gives me a positive 9. We can type the insides because negative 1 plus 9 should give me 8, which it did, so we did it correctly. Okay, now 9x times what gives, or sorry, 3x times what gives me 9x? Well, 3 times 3. Okay, and then 3 times negative 1 is negative 3, which is what I wanted. So this does not have a remainder, and my quotient, my answer is x plus 3. Again, might help if you can see what I'm doing, sorry. Okay, let's look at number 3. I like these. I like when my b term is 0x. Okay, fill my box. Divisor on the left side. A term here. And I remember we want our diagonal to add to 0x. Okay, so 5 times 5, so 5x times 5x gives me 25x squared. 5x times negative 3 gives me negative 15x. And I know that if I want negative 15 to become 0, I have to do the opposite. So the opposite of negative 15 is positive 15x. 5x times what gives me 15x? Well, that's going to be positive 3. And then 3 times negative 3 is negative 9. I wanted positive 9. So what do I have to add to negative 9 to get positive 9? Well, just like the diagonal, we can find that the same way. So if we're not sure, remember, we take our outside number, which is positive 9, the number we wanted, minus the inside number, which is a negative, so we have to do that double negative, and it's 18. So this is my remainder. So yes, there's a remainder, and r equals 18. Ugh, I keep leaving the calculator. Sorry, y'all. Okay, so when there's a remainder, I want you to realize this is not my final answer. That's why we're not asking for the quotient. Okay, however, when there's no remainder, that is my final answer. That is my quotient. Okay, last one. Quick refresher again. Divisor is x minus 4. A term is x squared, and I know the diagonal needs to add to my middle term, which is positive 3x. So x times x is x squared. X times negative 4 is negative 4x. And again, to get there, if we struggle with that, I can do my outside number, which is positive 3, minus my inside number, which is negative 4, and that gives me a positive 7x. So x times 7 is 7x, and then 7 times negative 4 is negative 28, which is not what I wanted. So what do I have to add to negative 28 to get to negative 32? Again, we can take our outside number, which is negative 32, minus my inside number, which is negative 28, and that's negative 4. So my remainder, yes, there's a remainder, and my remainder is negative 4. Gosh, sorry y'all, I keep hiding it. Okay, that is what we're doing today. That's the only difference today, is that if it doesn't work, okay, it's because we have a remainder, okay?